Good morning, class. Hope you all had a wonderful spring break. I know I did. Okay, today we're going to be learning to review what an inference is and to highlight details from the text that are important to answer questions that show your understanding of the text. Okay? And you will know you're successful when you can read the grade level text, highlight important details in the text while reading, and recognize the inference and answer questions about key details and inferences. Now, the material that I chose is copyrighted. They aren't going to let us do any highlighting, but I left this in here because I want you to be able to go back to the text and look for answers to your questions and not just try to remember. It's always best to go back, get details, and that's really the purpose of highlighting, is so that you can mark the spots that are really important, and it makes it easier for you to go back. Okay, so you're going to take a look at the chart. This is kind of an example of what you'll see Monday. In fact, it's pretty much what you'll see. This video that I'm doing right now will be right here, so you'll see that in your module, your assignment. So what you're going to do is go to the gray button that looks like this one, just below. Click on it. It will take you to your assignment on Google Slides. Always remember, learning is fun when it's done right. So this is what your button is going to look like, this gray button. It looks kind of like this one. I've changed the name on this one because this is the demo. Your other one will look just like that one. All right? So I'm going to push this button to demonstrate. Okay, and when you get to this page, you're going to have to click on Helen Keller. Okay, so that's not working. Click on that to make it bigger. Need to get rid of some. Okay, I might have to take a closer look at this. I'm going to go to this page here. If you have problems getting that bigger, I may have to make some adjustments. I'll take a look at it. Okay, so what you do is we're reading this article about Helen Keller, and then we're going to answer some questions. Okay, so hang tight while I read this. I'm going to read it kind of fast, but then the most important thing about this video is I want to show you how to answer the questions. So Helen Keller was born in June 27th of 1880 in Tuscumbia, Alabama. When Helen was just 1 year old, she became gravely ill. Helen's illness caused her to permanently lose her sight and hearing, meaning that she became deaf and blind. Anne Sullivan became Helen's teacher and eventually also became her governess and companion. Anne ended up working for Helen for 49 years. Anne encouraged Helen and taught her to believe that she could overcome her disability. Helen learned sign language so that she could read. Helen was determined to learn to speak. Helen worked hard to be able to communicate with people who could hear. She learned to understand other people's speech by reading their lips and with her hands. As Helen got older, she was first blind and deaf person to earn a college degree. Helen became a well-known speaker. She also wrote 12 books, including her autobiography, The Story of My Life. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson gave Helen the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Toward the end of her life, Helen experienced health issues and had numerous strokes. She spent her final years in her home. Helen died on June 1st, 1968, at her home in Easton, Connecticut. She died a few weeks before her 88th birthday. There are movies, plays, books, and television specials about Helen. Her birthplace in Alabama is a museum. Helen helped change the way the world sees people with disabilities. She also spoke out for women's rights. When Helen inspired many people, she had famous friends like Alexander Graham Bell, Charlie Chaplin, and Mark Twain. As Helen once said, the best and most beautiful things in this world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. So these are pictures of Helen when she was very young, and this is her tutor. And this is Helen when she's a little bit older. But she was blind and she could not hear. Okay? So So after you read the story, and you want to read it a couple of times to make sure you understand it, then you come to answer the questions. It's going to look like this. You've got some red boxes here. The first question asks the following question. Answer the following questions. Underline text evidence in the color indicated if there is a crayon next to the question. You will need to infer the answer. You should still look at the text evidence to help you infer. Why did Helen become deaf and blind? So here again, you want to go back up here. I don't think it's going to let me highlight. I guess I could do a little bit of highlighting, but so when Helen was, so I'm going to highlight when Helen was just 1 year old, she became gravely ill. Helen's illness caused her permanent lose her sight and hearing, meaning that she became deaf and blind. Okay, so there's my answer right there. So I would come back down to my next page here, and I double click on the space here. I have to double click because if I just click it once, it just highlights the box. But if I double click, then I get a cursor. That black line right there's a cursor, and that means I can type in the box. So I'm just going to say, Helen became deaf and blind. Why did she become blind? And I'm going to put the answer, I put the question in the answer. Helen became deaf and blind from a sickness she had when she was just 1 year old. Okay, so there's my answer to that question. You'll notice I found it in the there's the bell. You're late for class. Just tricking. So you'll write the question in the answer in the thing. But notice I went back up into the reading to find it. Right? I found it up in here. And you'll notice that to highlight, if you can probably highlight some of this, but it's not going to stay. It'll just let you look at it this time. But then I go to the next page and I come back. It's not highlighted anymore. We'll work on something for that. But okay, so the next question was, where was Helen born? I want to look in the article and find that out. On this next question here, it says, when did Helen become deaf and blind? Now, on your paper, I don't think I have the right one. Okay, I'm going to go back to this one. There we go. Okay, on your paper, I'm going to have some circles already there. And these are drag circles, so you make sure when you put your cursor across there, you make sure it looks like there we go. See, when you get those crossing lines, when they get crossing, you know you can move it. So I'm going to read that question, when did Helen become deaf and blind? And it wasn't when she was born, after her illness, after she learned to speak, before she graduated college. So I would drag that circle over to A and just put it on there the best I can, because it was after her illness that she became blind. Now you'll notice with this question it says, what are some of Helen's accomplishments? Choose all that apply. Now I've given you a hint. I've got 2 circles for you to drag. Just come across it, drag over here. What were some of Helen's accomplishments? She wrote 12 books. I remember that one, so I'm going to put that there. And then Helen graduated college. She became a speaker. Helen starred and starred in a movie and a play. I'm going to say that she graduated college. Those were 2 of her accomplishments. So, and the circles may not be perfect, but I'll be able to see that you've circled the right 2 answers. Okay? So then you go to the next page, and you'll how did Anne Sullivan help her? So you go back into the text, read the text, find out who Anne Sullivan was and how she helped her. and then you come down, you double click in the box so that you get the cursor, and then you can type your answer. Here on this one, you're going to be typing an answer, and this number 8 right here is another one where you have to choose the right answer. Why is it important to remember Helen today? You're going to take your circle, and Helen helped change the way people see others with disabilities. So I put my circle there, make sure I could maybe move it a little bit so that it fits a little better on the D. And it's going to be a little bit difficult for you, but if you get it really close to the right answer, I'll know you've got it, okay? So that's how it's going to work. And remember, I gave you the hint of if it just needs one circle, you'll just have the one circle. If you have to circle 2 places, then you'll have 2 circles, okay? And then you'll need to write the answers in the box by double-clicking. Make sure you get the cursor, and then you can type your answer. All right? Hope that answers that. We're going to be doing these assignments like this for 4 days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then on Friday, we're going to have a quiz. And I'm really looking for you to go back to this page. I'm really looking for you to learn to look for answers in the text. Unfortunately, we can't highlight them, but you can kind of highlight them for a moment to kind of look at your answer. And you need to recognize the inference and answer the questions about the key details of the inference. Okay? That's going to be the assignment for this week. And if you have any questions, please email me. You can message me on the phone. You can even call me on the phone. Okay? But I want to be able to answer your questions. I want to move forward this quarter and have lots of success. So we'll see you later.